So what we're going to have a look at is June 2019 paper 3. We're only going to look at the spreadsheet section. There is a big HTML section which we're going to skip. I'm going to go all the way down to page 7 where the spreadsheet task starts. And the first thing I need to do is make sure I've got all of the files. So I'm going to select all of those, copy them. I'm going to drop them, I'll just put them into documents for the time being. So June 2019 spreadsheet paper. I'll paste them into there. Okay, so go away Java version. What I need to do to begin with is open and examine the files ssdmanufacturer.csv and ssd.csv. Now straight away I've made a mistake. What's my mistake that I've just made? Because what I've just done is what a bunch of you have done when tackling papers like these. Melody? Well, it didn't tell me to unzip things, but it did tell me to do that earlier on. So I would have done that before the HTML section. My mistake was not reading this bit. Okay? They always give you a little introduction that will always tell you something that's really important in spreadsheet work, and that's the currency that you're working with. Okay? So you're going to prepare a spreadsheet for SuperDisk sales. This company makes and sells storage devices. The company will use a spreadsheet to compare some of the solid-state drives that they sell. All prices are in euros. So straight away, if you're putting things in dollars, you're going to lose a mark for that. All right? Make sure you read absolutely everything that's on that introductory bit. 2 decimal places, that's standard for currency, but you've got to make sure that you're doing things in euros. Okay? So open and examine the files, this CSV and the other CSV. So I'll do the first one first. So when it tells you to open and examine, it's basically saying, look for what you would expect to follow. What would you expect this would be for? You've seen some spreadsheets that look like this. Zoom in a bit. What would you expect to do with that, Wilson? Yeah, it's going to be a lookup, isn't it? There's going to be a lookup in the other CSV file where we have to pick something out of this. That's all it is. Yeah? So let's open up the other one. So this is SSD. This is going to be the one that we're working in, right? So, in the file ssd.csv spreadsheet, insert 2 new rows at the top. Interesting that it hasn't told us to save it as a spreadsheet. Would you, even though it hasn't told you to? I think so, right? If you're going to be making edits like this, what happens if Excel crashes? Or what happens if your computer has a problem? Well, you could lose everything if you haven't saved it as a spreadsheet first. Okay? So I'm going to take my SSD file and go File, Save As. I'm going to keep it in the same folder, but save it as an Excel workbook. Okay? So, in there, click Enter. In there, we need to have a look at what we need to do. So insert 2 new rows at the top. So how do we do that? Well, we select rows 1 and 2, right click, insert. In cell A1, enter the text SDS, SSD, price per gigabyte. Does it matter that everything is absolutely perfect? Can it be a little off? Can you have a spelling mistake? No, has to be absolutely perfect. Okay? So merge cells A1 to G1. So merge and center. We make this a bit wider. There we go. Format the merged cell A1 to have a white. That's white. 30 point. What happens when you don't get 30 in this list? You type it in. Serif Font. What do serif fonts look like? Can you give me a serif font example? Arial is the opposite of serif. That's sans serif. Times New Roman is good. So we'll go for that. Times New Roman. Can you just type serif? No. Right? Serif is not the name of a font. It's the name of a family of fonts. I mean, all right, there might be some fonts that, hang on, I'm confusing things now. Why don't I make the background of this black, which is the next step? Or is it black? No, it's red. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Make sure that you can see it. If you type in SE, you're going to get down to the stuff down here. Those are not serif fonts, right? There are just a couple of font names that you need to remember. And Times New Roman is one of them. Pick that. Okay? You can pick any that's serif. You could do Georgia, or there's a bunch of serif fonts. Garamond is another. When we get onto the Word paper, I'm going to show you how you can use fonts in order to save yourself from going over the edge of a page. And once you've done that, that then translates into this more easily. But for the time being, Times New Roman is fine. Okay? Okay, so format the text in row 3 to be red, 18-point sans serif font. So, I don't know why I made it bold. 18, and we'll make the font red. Is it sans serif already, or do we need to change it? It's already sans serif, so we don't need to change it. If you want to, Arial would be fine, Verdana, Tahoma, any of those, but Calibri, which is the default font, is already sans serif. Yeah? Format the top of the spreadsheet to look like this. So at this point, we've got our column widths, and we've got column heights as well. What else have we got on there that we don't currently have in my spreadsheet? He says, hiding it. There we go. So, when we do column widths, the way that you're going to do column widths to begin with is just double-clicking and seeing whether it looks about right. I mean, it does, right? What else do I need to do to make it look right? Backgrounds? You sure? Yeah, it looks black because this is a exam paper, right? They don't print exam papers in color. I know, annoying. I don't know why they said color this in red, but... Anything else? Yeah, so row 2. Ryan, when you did this a little while ago, you said it's on top of row 2. Is it? No, it's just that row 2 has been made a little shorter. And so long as it looks about right, I mean, if you don't get it pixel perfect, that's okay. That's not the end of the world. But it needs to be pretty close. Yeah? We got any more? Okay, so we need borders. So we'll select the whole thing. A bit too far, there we go. Yeah, all borders. Anything else? Looks about right, doesn't it? Yeah? Those aren't bold. That, interestingly, does look bold to me. But it doesn't say make it bold, so that's okay. We'll leave it the way it is. Okay, save this spreadsheet with the file name SDS_SSD. Same folder, so SDS_SSD, and then your candidate number, which for the time being we'll just put as 1234. Oh, center number as well. So I got it wrong. What do we need to put in there? TW0081234. And then hit save. Okay, place your name, center number, and candidate number center aligned in the header. How do we do that? View? No. Insert. So insert, and then we've got header and footer, and that takes us into the different view. You can do it in view, so if you go into print view, you get basically this option. Yeah, so name, few spaces, TW008, few more spaces, 1234. When it tells you that they should be center aligned, that doesn't mean do one on the left, one in the middle, one on the right. It means do all of them in the middle. Okay? Place the text, created on. Now, should created on be in bold? Yeah. If they've done it in bold, you do it in bold. So go down to the footer. There we go. Where should it be? Left aligned in the footer. Okay, so we're going to there, bold, created on, with a colon, and then they want an automated date, then a space, then the automated time. So for that, you go into the Design tab, and if we do current date, space, current time, and then click out of that box, it puts that information in there for us. Yeah? What else do we need? That's it in this view. So how do we leave this view to get back to the way the spreadsheet looked to begin with? Yeah, so view. Why can't I? Any ideas? My computer is broken, so I should take it out back and shoot it. No, it's because I'm inside this box right now. If you click out of the box, now we can go back to normal view. Okay? So, good. So we're up to number 16 now. So in cell C4, use a function to look up the manufacturer's name. It's told us what function we need to use, which is, it's going to be a lookup, and when you're doing a lookup, you are almost always doing a Vlookup. So we're using the M-code column for the lookup value, and the external file, ssdmanufacturer.csv for the array. This means if we've saved that as a spreadsheet, are we going to lose a mark? Yeah, right? It needs to stay a CSV file. Okay? So in here, we are going to go cell C4, there it is. So equals Vlookup, and what are we going to use as the lookup value? They told us it's M code, so it's that one, comma, what now? I know exactly what you mean by, but where do we go? Into the other spreadsheet, yeah? So into here, and then what do we need? Select all, so, okay. So we're not going to include the headers, but we're going to go from top down to bottom, then? Do I go back to my spreadsheet? Oh. You want to be a little careful about going back to your spreadsheet before you've hit comma. Okay? Sometimes, like now, it's okay and it keeps it. Sometimes it gets rid of it for you. Right? So be a little bit careful about that. Hit your comma. Which column index do we want? 2. Yeah. Because we're looking at the second column, and then true or false? False. Almost always. The 2 means column 2. Yeah? So we're looking at this data, that's column 1, that's column 2. So we want to show what's in column 2. Yeah? So if we hit enter, it should immediately make some sense. So we'll replicate it all the way down. Are there any problems? Nope, that all looks right. Yeah? Yep. You would still type 2. Yeah. And you don't need to select the third column. I mean, you could be looking to do your VLOOKUP and have a lot more columns than this, but you only need to include as many as you're going to count to the right. That makes sense? So if we had 10 columns in here, but I still only wanted manufacturer, I'd still only choose columns 1 and 2. I'd ignore the rest of it. If you wanted the 5th one, you'd go as far as the 5th one. I mean, it doesn't cause you any problems going any further, but when you don't need it, don't use it. Yeah? Okay. So, that's as good with our lookup. Yeah. In cell G4, use a formula to calculate the price per gigabyte for this drive. So in here, how are we going to do this? Well, you're trying to round a calculation we haven't done yet. You could type round first, but if we take it in the order that it's in the paper, we should do the calculation first. Huh? We're going to round it down eventually, but for the time being, how do we work out the price per gigabyte? Price? So 60 divided by 128. Is that right? Yeah? Does that sound right to you? 60 divided by 128? Is that okay? Huh? Yeah, it is right. Just don't look at this and think, hang on a minute, 0.46. Well, that's 0.46 of a euro. It's basically half a euro per gigabyte. That's fine. That's perfectly right. Yeah? It hasn't told us yet that we need to format these as currency, so we'll leave it and see whether it comes to that later, but you don't want to forget something like that before you're finished. Okay? So, we've got that. That's good. Round this value down to 2 decimal places. So how are we going to do that? Equals round. And then, comma, 2. There we go. Yeah. And then we take it all the way down. Good. Replicate the functions in steps 16 and 17 for each drive. Well, I've just done that. Apply appropriate formatting to rows 4 to 108 of the spreadsheet. So back in here, this is where we're going to do our prices. So select all of those. What should they be? Currency. So, am I done? Said right at the very start what currency it should be. Euros, right? So we don't have euros from that list. So we go to more number formats, currency, and then scroll down until we hit euros. Doesn't matter which of these euros you pick. A Dutch euro is the same as a euro. The point of it is it's one currency, but I've got euro there, so I'll hit that one. Yeah, good. So apply appropriate formatting to rows 4 to 108 of the spreadsheet. Have I got anything else that I need to format? Bold the title? Well, the title has already been put in big and red, so I don't know that it needs bolding. Yeah? Yeah, we look okay. Save your spreadsheet. Save the entire spreadsheet, print the entire spreadsheet showing the formulae. Okay, so showing the formulae, how do we do that? Formulas. Show formulas. Now we've got a problem, right? A couple of people just went ahead and printed what they've got right now. Are you going to get all the marks you should get if that's what you do? Where are you going to lose some? We need to do the column widths. When you go to Formula View, it messes with your column widths. So first off, we've got these columns that are way too wide, which is going to make all of your text really small on your printout. Yeah? So we want to select all of these columns and double click to make sure that they are as round as they need to be. Yeah? Sorry, as wide as they need to be. No wider, no less wide. If you've chopped off any part of that, which I will tell you a couple of people did in the test the other day, I can't give you full credit for something that I can't read. Yeah? You've got to make absolutely certain that every single thing is in there. Yeah? So, when we've got this, are we okay? Can I just go ahead and print now? Why not? What's this? It's going to cut off. And it's going to cut off because I'm currently in portrait mode. Yeah? So I've just selected all of my data, and I can go Page Layout, Print Area, Set Print Area. What that's going to do is prevent some bright spark, I don't know, they might be called bento, going down like 4,000 lines and putting one thing in one cell that then prints out 432 pages of nothing, of my paper, boo, etc. Right? If you set the print area to just be the data that you want to print, you're going to make it impossible for you to end up killing lots of trees. Okay? So it's a smart thing to do. Print area right there. So now we're going to go File, Print. And we want to change to Landscape Orientation. Never seen that before. Bit weird. Well, there we go. So that shows me what this looks like. Is it a problem that it doesn't all fit on one page? We need to go back and check the wording of this. Print the entire spreadsheet showing the formulae. Make sure it's in landscape orientation, rows and column headings are displayed, contents of cells are fully visible. It's fine for it to go over more than one page. That's okay. You don't want it to go over more than one page wide, though, right? We're not making this too small. That's perfectly readable. Nothing wrong with that. I have missed one thing from that list of things they were asking for, though. What have I missed? Column headings and row headings. So if I go back, how do I get those? Page layout, headings, print. That's it. Yeah? So file, print. Now I can see that they're all there. Yeah? So I'm going to go ahead and print this. There we go. Okay. Print the entire spreadsheet showing the values. So make sure that the printouts fit on a single page wide and is 2 pages tall. Okay. So in here now, what do I need to do first? I'm enjoying the hand actions. This is good. Huh? What's the first thing I need to do? Don't show formulas. So go back to formulas and untick show formulas. Next thing I need to do? Sort my column widths again. So just double click, fixes them all. Now, is there anything else I need to do? I don't think so. So file, print. Now I need to make absolutely certain that we're set up correctly, are we? No. So what's the first change I need to make? Because I'm now a little thinner, we can do it in portrait mode, not landscape mode. So from landscape through to portrait. How do I make it fit onto 2 pages tall? Look at the width versus the height. Yeah? Pick the one that makes the most sense. Yeah? Now we need scaling. So I'm going to have a bit of a play around with this. If I go into page and then fit to, what options do I need to choose? 1 page wide by 2 pages tall. So hit OK. And that fits everything onto 2 pages. Good? Yeah? Is that readable? You're going to find out. It's going to come out the printer in a minute. Yeah? Feel free to grab it and tell me. Now, next one. Extract only the drives made by Samsung or OZT that cost under €200 with more than 240 gigabytes of storage capacity. How am I going to do that? Thank you. Filter. Now, can I just do my filter like this? Can I do it with my little drop-downs? I need to do a custom filter. If I try to do it with my drop-downs, I might get everything, I might not get everything, right? Whenever you've got more than one criteria to look at, you just couldn't help yourself, could you? You just have to, I mean... So, if we go into... Are we going to be under custom sort or... No. Okay. I'm wrong. We can do it with this. That's fine. It's sorting that you need to do using levels. Okay? So, only Samsung or OZT. So, we're going to go to manufacturer, untick all of them, apart from OZT and Samsung, hit OK, and that's got rid of a bunch that cost under €200. So price, number filters, less than or equal to? Less than. Under, not under or equal to, yeah? So 200 with more than 240 gigabytes of storage capacity. So on capacity, number filters, greater than 240. There we go. Sort the extract into ascending order of manufacturer, then ascending order of price. Now this is where we need to use more than just our little arrows. Okay? So we're going to select the whole thing, into sort and filter and do custom sort. When you're trying to sort using more than one field, you need to do it using this rather than just the arrows, okay? If you don't, you're going to sort first off with ascending order of manufacturer, so I'll show you that. So we have all the OZTs first and then the Samsungs, and then I go to price, sort smallest to largest, and it messes those up, yeah? So don't do it that way. Instead, go sort and filter, custom sort. We want to sort by manufacturer A to Z and then add a level by price, smallest to largest. Okay, hit OK. OZT, 115, 162, 181. Yeah, so that's done everything that we need. Print the extract showing the values, make sure it fits onto a single page and all of the required cells are fully visible. So now we're going to print this, so set print area, file, print. We can see the whole thing. Does it matter whether it's portrait or landscape? It doesn't, so long as they're visible. That's perfectly visible, so I'm just going to print that. And that right there is your spreadsheet paper. Okay? Huh? Yeah, I don't think Excel was the problem when you printed 45 pages, Kento. I think you were the problem.
Well, I just pressed print like I was it.
And yet. Okay, so I'm gonna...